fluffy jokes.
Hello and welcome to the first costume review of 2020 now. Yep, it's the first one of the year now, and I have been putting this section, this collection of costumes, I've been putting it off for a little bit, and I've been doing blogs instead and some skits, but mostly blogs. But I think, I might as well get over and done with. This is like a themed costume review. So, what is the theme? Well, you've probably seen in the title. But yeah, it's going to be Five Nights at Freddy's costumes and stuff that I have. New professional look on costume reviews. Because, like I said in the first episode of me being back in 2020, is basically costume reviews have improved. Where I'm going to be going more in depth and such, and saying prices, and you get the idea. It's going to be more in depth, and I feel like this is a good way to move forward for this costume reviews to get better. So enough chatting, time to get right into the costumes because I've got a few. And here is the first costume. As you can see, it's the Foxy one first I'm going to be showing, and this one, well, I would say this is probably the probably best one out of the set that I will be showing because it's pretty well designed, and I'll talk about why I keep raising it in a second because it has some downfalls, but yeah, like the design is very good, as you can see. If you buy this not just for the Five Nights at Freddy's aspect of it, and buy it for Halloween. This one's not getting sold anymore, sadly. But and there is a but. There is a few sellers still left selling this, but it could be a scam, could be not. But basically, I can't see this in any costume store anymore. It's just this mask is completely sold out. But so it's pretty limited if you would like to try get one. If it is a scam, then like I said, I'm sorry for making you go into a scam, making you, walk to a scam and all that stuff. I apologise, but basically the ones I have seen on eBay and all that stuff that are still selling it, selling it for around about £12. The design of this, as I already said, is pretty well detailed. I like it. It looks very Halloween kind of mask to it. Looks pretty good. But it has a lot of headroom. Like that's where my head is at the side, and of course, right there is where my front of my face is. And of course there's quite a bit of room at the back too. So it's very, very spacious in the mask basically. But of course this is a bad thing because, like I just said a few seconds ago, it keeps literally sliding down and then all I can see is down there. Right, all I can see is down there. So basically visibility to this mask is average, but then because it keeps sliding down, it's pretty poor. So basically, the rating I'll probably give visibility of this is probably a three out of 10, I would say, for this mask. And like I said, design I would say is probably about a 7 out of 10. Could have got an 8 or 9, but like I said, the design falls down and you can't see and it ruins the visibility. But of course, you've got lots of air, so basically this is good for long wears because the air can get up there and all around your head, and of course through the eyes. But that's it. Like if you had a head shape that fits this. Basically, the only air you'll be getting is, of course, the eye holes. There's no nostrils and no mouth. It's just, it's just there, there all around your neck and the eye holes. But yeah, it's pretty good. And the next one we have up is of course this Freddy Mask. And basically this one I can give a comfortable rating because it's actually more suited to my head, so basically I can give it even more of a proper comfortable, because that one's just, that's just latex basically. And this one is actually fur and latex and all that stuff, and a bit of a different fabric. I can't remember what the head, the little hat is made out of. The visibility is, of course, a bit more better rating, but it's still a bit, not that great. It's about, I'll say about 5 out of 10 for visibility with this mask. And the design, I'll say I'll have to give it maybe a 6 out of 10 because it does look a bit weird, but it does, still look alright. It's not that bad. Could look worse, can it? But yeah, it's got like it's got a Velcro at the back to secure it around your head, and basically, yeah, that's kind of the design of this costume. Is a bit of latex here. There's a hole where you're for the mouth, but even though this one is actually made for kids' heads, and I'm I'm not a kid. Basically, the mouth hole is technically above my mouth, above my lips. Basically, my lips are there, my mouth is there, but it's up there. Basically, breathability in this mask is a bit poor for me, and probably if you was actually the right, the right age for this, then it's probably better. But for the age I'm wearing this and all that stuff, it has a bit of bad. It has a bit of bad breathability to it, because also the latex is right up close to my face, and because my mouth and my breath is hitting there, it heats up the latex and makes it a little bit clammy and a bit sweaty-ish around, around your mouth. And then of course eventually it heats up your whole head. So basically breathability is not really that great at all. It's very poor. It's probably the most poorest costume thing I've ever had in my whole collection. Because basically, yeah, the only air that's coming in is through the nostrils and the eye holes. But of course, the nostrils, they did do like a hole, but it's very tiny. But basically, I don't mind. But yeah, the only air is coming in through here and a bit of here, but mostly the eye holes, basically. But yeah, breathability would be probably 2 out of 10, because it's not really good for long wears, and eventually you just feel a bit like, oh, I need breath, especially if you're running. Comfortability, I would say I'll rate this probably a 3 out of 10. It could have got a 4, but like I said, my breath hitting the latex starts to heat it up, and you can even feel like the warmth around my whole mouth as I keep talking to you. And it becomes a bit uncomfortable, and then the latex around the cheeks, because you can really feel, feel where the latex is hitting my cheeks around there. You can feel the bit of pressure. And now we have the second to final costume, and I saved the proper costumes for last. So we've got this one that I have to quickly say that this is actually sold separately in a way, I would say, because this doesn't really come with the costume. And I have to say sorry for that. But basically, why did I buy this? It's basically this costume came with the exact same kind of design with the little mitten bit. Basically, it was a floppy and shit little hook that, always went flopped all the way down. It didn't have anything holding it up. And now it's a proper costume. We've got a movability to the costume in the ratings. And basically, let's start with what I've been starting out with most of the time, is visibility. visibility in this, I will say, is 9 out of 10. It is, you know, it hasn't really reduced much of my visibility, and the plastic band black bit at the back of my head that goes, you know, wraps around is very nice and tight, so it's, you know, close to my eyes, and yeah, there's not really much of a problem with visibility at all. You know, I can still see. And now provability with the costume itself. Well, again, it's a mask, but unlike the two masks that I've showed you, it's only a half mask basically. So, you know, it only goes on the front of the face and a little bit around, but not much. And basically, yeah, of course, provability is 9 out of 10. Oh, provability in this is a 10 out of 10 because, you know, there's not really much of it, you know, getting restricted. So it's good for long wears. The design, I'll say probably for design, I'll have to give it 8 out of 10. It could have got a 9, but that floppy hook that it came with was rubbish, and I would say it brings it down. But even though with my hook that I'll eventually talk about in a second, the design has improved to a 9, but technically I'm basing this off of like the official technique costume and stuff. So of course I have to rate it at 8. But you know, if I counted that, and you know, if this came with the actual costume, then I would say it would be a 9, but it's at 8. And I have to say that this is very, very comfortable. The comfortable rating for this is probably the comfortable rating for this is definitely a 10 out of 10. I would say almost a 9 out of 10 because this is a little bit not comfortable. I've never really had anything like this. Like, this is a bit of a weird design, having most of your fingers not able to do anything apart from clamp with your thumb. So it is a bit hard to like pick up stuff basically, a little, but it's still pretty easy and such. And of course, you know, the hook, you know, just let go of my hook because it's got a handle. Again, I'll talk about this later. I'm talking about this too early on. But yeah, this like silk, I think it's silk, I can't remember what it was. I really should check in future, really. I think that's also a thing I could work towards for this, you know, for costume reviews in this year, basically. But basically this is very, very nice and soft around your hand, and this is actually made out of pajamas. Made out of pajamas? Yeah, it's made out of different pajamas. uh, no, it's the costume itself is pajamas, alright? It's pajama material. So of course, you know, if you ever had you know, pajamas, then you know the kind of feeling that I'm talking about. It's you know, it's nice and soft. You know, it's pretty thin. It's a bit thin, but not too thin. So actually, you know, you can still get a nice breeze when it's strong winds and such hitting you. And you know, it's very good. Now, this is the last costume. Now, with this one is a bit different, and you can probably see my chin. Yeah, you can probably see my chin going over the mask. Right, visibility. Again, the exact same as the Foxy one. You know, 9 out of 10 again. Breathability. Now, this is where it kind of changes a bit. Breathability, I would say, is not a 10 out of 10. It has to be a 9 out of 10 with the breathability, and that is because technically this mask, sure, it's what I call a half mask again, where, you know, it's half of your face basically, you know, not all around your head. And this mask, if I get a bit closer, as you can see, it curves around the head, and then it, you know, kind of stops nearest to my ear. So it tries to be a little bit not a half mask and tries to go for, you know, almost around the head. and it does that around, like, up there and at the top as well, so it kind of curves. It's not like the Foxy one where it just goes doop and then there's big gaps where air can get in. This one just curves around the face, and it causes the breathability to this one to degrade a bit, but technically there is still nice good air intake around the mask. It's got the nostrils, it's got eye holes, it's got it's got the mouth bit, and it's still got a bit of the side, but it's more decreased at this around the head now. And comfortability in this, almost the exact same, yes, but this one also has another downgrade to the Foxy one. The mittens, that technically you get two of these. What's nice, because it's not not a little floppy hook this time, so you get two nice little hand bits for the costume. And is that technically round my thumb, and around my thumb it feels way tighter. They made it smaller for this one for some reason. I don't know why, but they did. But yeah, it feels a bit more tight around my thumb, so I suppose if I had a thicker thumb, I would not really like this costume at all. So basically, again, exact same materials, pretty well done. The design, again, I would have to say is, the design, I have to say 10 out of 10, because it looks like the thing, it looks like the character, it's pretty well designed. Movability is technically the exact same rating, because technically I can still do things. If I had to compare to which one out of the Foxy one that looks like this and this one, I'll say this one is the better one. And I'm not just saying because technically it's a bit worse, I'm just saying this because, the design, and, I just like it more. I think it is probably the design and the fact you get two of these and not just a plastic hook that you can just let go and all that stuff. But yeah, it's more better. I will say it's more better.
Now, this is the overall bit of the costume reviews where I will do every single episode now. The visibility to it is just poor and it ruins it. My overall thought on it is 7.5 lollipops. It maybe could have got an 8 or an overall 7, but yeah, the visibility to this mask is just very poor. That ruins it, but the design and everything else is great, but it's just the visibility that brings it down. But I would say it's still pretty good. It's still a bit of a good mask to wear, even if you can't see now and then. The Freddy Mask. And the Freddy Mask, well, I'll say the overall thought on that is 5 lollipops. Yeah, it's pretty average. It's not 10 out of 10, but it's half, and that's mostly because the design is pretty good, and to me it's a pretty decent mask, and like I said, it could be worse, um, but but because it got a 5 out of 10, that's because of the air intake, and not being able to do long wears, and the comfortability of it is very poor. But that is why I've had to give it a 5 lollipops. The Foxy Costume, my overall thought on this one is 8 lollipops. And that is because, the comfortability is great, the intake and long wears, great. The design, kind of. Visibility, that is almost perfect. Like I said, it could be a little bit improved, but, technically it's pretty good. And of course, movability is of course, easy. There's not really much problem. There's not really much of a problem, so it's pretty decent. So hence why I gave it 8 lollipops. For Freddy Costume, now as I said while I was telling you, this one has a bit difference to the Foxy one. And that's because the visibility is of course the exact same, but the design I would say is more better. As I said before, the design is much more better. The air intake is a bit decreased, the comfortability decreased, movability is the exact same of course. Hence why I've had to give it 8.5 lollipops. because you know it's gone a bit down and might as well give it half of an 8. And now the hook that I didn't really review, but basically I'm going to quickly just say it now because this episode is very long and I apologise, but then again I was doing a collection of costumes and not just the single costume. The design is 6 out of 10, the comfortability is 5 out of 10. So my overall thought on this is 5 lollipops because it's pretty average, and the only reason why I didn't give it a 3 to even 2 or even lower, whatever, than 5, technically it's a cheap plastic hook. And it's like, sure, the design is a bit rugged and not super great, but decent, and a bit above decent, and the comfortability is just like it's all right. It's not great. It's not bad. It's just it's just a bit of hard plastic, basically. It's not amazing. Not amazing comfortability, and it's not bad. So yeah, because of the very cheap price, I've given it a 5 lollipops because of it. And now I shall go back to yesterday's footage because because I recorded this a second time because I didn't like the footage in the first place, so I re-recorded it. Hence why I changed my top in the clip. But yeah, back to yesterday's footage.
Well, there you go. That is the whole costume review. Hope you enjoyed it. If there was any problems or I missed things and such, I'll make a note of, as this is the first costume review with the new kind of update style to it. If there's any kinks, I'll make sure that next time I do a costume review, it's a lot more better than what this was, basically. But if it went fine, then that's nice as well. But basically that's it. The next Fluffy Chops Life episode will be another costume review. But yes, the next Fluffy Chops Life episode will be another costume review, and because it's episode 50 next week, it's actually going to be a bit of a special episode for next week. I'll probably do a special episode when we hit 100 as well, but for now, 50th episode, I kind of want to a little bit celebrate it with a special video for you guys. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope to see you what the episode may be. And goodbye.